up, Simlings? Welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you're new. I'm Nay, I play The Sims. That's it, let's get into this giant monster mansion. I took my inspiration for this house from The Sims 3 Into the Future, the Oasis Landing subworld. The Into the Future expansion pack is one of my favourites. I say that about a lot of expansion packs. I like a lot of the expansion packs. But that one certainly brought like new level of gameplay, the bot building. It was just a pretty cool expansion pack. A lot of the lots in Oasis Landing consist of a lot of glass. They also consist of bringing the outdoors in. There's a lot of indoor gardens consisting of, like, there was bamboo and there was ferns and rocks, and it really sort of fed on the idea going back to the 1950s when we were starting to look into the future, and the idea of, the Cold War was taking place. There was a fear of everything outside being destroyed and of people moving underground. So we were bringing the outdoors in with us, so we would still get some sense of normality as we were living in this sort of post-apocalyptic world. In our past, we weren't looking at the future being too bright, but we're still here, so, love that for me. But anyway, as you can see there, I put a rather large pool. There's a whole room that is just a swimming pool. There is a lot in San Myshuno, one of the penthouses that has that feature, and I thought that was really cool, so I sort of fed from that as well. I messed around with the stairs a lot here. This build, okay, just to give you an idea, I had about 4.5 hours of footage, and I didn't record everything I did because some of this was just... It wasn't a nightmare, I enjoyed it, I had a lot of fun, but there was a lot going on, and I've somehow compressed that down into just a 15-minute video. So I've got this on ×8 speed, which is the fastest I think you can have it, where you can still actually see what's going on, where it doesn't all just become this horrible pixelated blur. I'm surprised with the stairs here and how much I had to mess around with them, that I didn't realise at this stage that this house was not going to be big enough. It does expand a lot later. I think I went to bed one night, it was getting quite late, so I gave up on it, went to bed, got up the next morning and realised that I needed to expand everything. So I ended up putting the stairs more in their own room towards the outside, which I liked that idea more than stairs interrupting the inside layout. So I'm kind of glad I did that, but I didn't realise at the time, like, what a good idea that actually was. I wish I thought of that a lot earlier. With the outside of the house, I ended up trashing all those windows with the sort of cracked effect in them. They looked cool at first, but after a while they were a little bit overwhelming. I think you've got to use them quite sparingly, and I just wasn't liking them anymore. So I just put lots of these nice big open windows. I'm not a big fan of the blue glass in the doors, but there wasn't, a tall door that really matched quite well. And then I started building what is kind of a moat. That wasn't the intention. It was just meant to be like a pretty fountain surrounding the house. It would look, a bit more of that whole bringing nature to architecture kind of idea, but it's essentially a moat. We need a drawbridge, although I don't think we'd have drawbridges in the future. I imagine by that point in history that Oasis Landing takes place that we would just have lasers to take out intruders, and we wouldn't need something as archaic as a drawbridge. It's just having a play here with putting in some waterfalls, thought that would be really pretty, then decided against it, but there are waterfalls in the end, but they will move a lot as we go. And here we are moving inside, finally starting to do some furnishings. I took my inspiration for the colour scheme once again from the Into the Future pack from Sims 3. It starts off a little bit red here, but I end up going with like an orangey, sort of a muted orange kind of thing. There was a very similar shade of muted orange as one of the colour schemes in the Into the Future pack, which I think may have been some of my favourite furnishings throughout all of the Sims 3 if I think of all the expansion packs. It was really cool. Like, there was a coffee table with a glass top with plants underneath, there were hanging gardens, there were like digital projection gardens. It was just really cool. And it wasn't just the furnishings and the decorations and the visuals of Oasis Landing that were cool in that pack. It was also, the gameplay was enjoyable as well. There were references to pop culture icons in there as well that were, I suppose you could say they were somewhat hidden, but there were references to Futurama and Back to the Future and stuff like that. Although I would have enjoyed a few more Star Trek references, but that might just be me. And actually, on that note, let's talk about the time that I spied on William Shatner at a con. That did sound as creepy as I thought it was going to sound. But yeah, we're going back about 7 years now. We're going back to 2013. I was at a con with my brother and some friends and my mum, because I used to go everywhere with my mum back before I moved out of home. And William Shatner was there doing a meet and greet. And interesting little tidbit, I actually share my birthday with William Shatner, so yay me. But my mum had a huge crush on him as Captain Kirk growing up. So, getting to see him was a big thing for her. And I'm a huge Trekkie too, but obviously it didn't mean as much to me as it did to her. And I tried to convince her for a while. I was like, let's line up, let's meet him, we'll get a signed photo and you can just, you can say hi. And my mum's a really sociable, confident person. She will speak to anyone, and I could not convince her to get in line to meet William Shatner, no matter how hard I tried. I'm not socially adept, as you can probably tell by the way I speak. I'm quite a nervous person. But even I was like, no, Mum, we need to go. We need to meet him. It'll be awesome. You know, you'll regret it if you don't. But I could not convince her. So, you know, the line was forming, and probably about 70% of people at this con were in line to meet him. So it was pretty quiet where we were in the room. And Mum was like, let's go have a look at him. We'll just look. And I was like, okay, that's weird, but I'll come along. So we went around the line, and we went sort of towards the side of the table where he was at, and there was a disturbing lack of security, actually. I think there was maybe one security guard with him at the time. So we went there and we stood, and we were quite far away, and Mum's like, let's sneak closer. And I was like, Mum, like, even for me, and I'm weird, and even for me I was like, Mum, that's too weird. And she's like, no, just a few steps. So we snuck a few steps closer, and then a few more steps closer, and we must have stood there for about 15 minutes just staring at William Shatner in absolute silence. It was probably one of the weirdest things I've ever done. Like, I don't think I've met any celebrities, like, at all. I think that's the closest I've ever come to an actual celebrity. But I think it sort of shows how much my mum had a crush on him, that even so many years later she couldn't go near him. But as I said, like, we stood there for about 15 minutes before Mum finally turned to me. She's like, okay, that's all I need now. And she turned and walked away, and I was like, oh, okay, cool, we're just done. We're just going to go about our lives as if that never happened. And we've never spoken about it since. Actually, recounting that story did remind me, I lied there. I have met a celebrity before. It was at a con, the same con actually, not the same year, but, you know, the same convention. Was it a year, maybe 2 years before, Barbara Eden was there. She was the Genie in I Dream of Jeannie, for those of us who are too young to have ever watched that show. I think I'd seen 1 or 2 episodes of it. But my dad knew that she was there, and he was like, oh, can you get her autograph for me? And, you know, so my brother and I, like, yeah, sure, that's great. Yeah, we can do that. So we lined up, you know, we bought the photograph, we waited, and you know, we got up the line, and, you know, we met her, and I was she has an aura. There is something about her that just, I was gobsmacked. I could barely say anything. Like, there is something, she is stunning. Like, I can't explain it, but she's got something about her that just knocks the breath out of you. Even my brother was like, whoa, okay, this is something else. And my brother had this little cat hat on with like ears and eyes, and she complimented his hat, and he blushed so much, and he got all giggly. It was just the cutest thing. Like, my brother's hilarious, but that moment was just like, you know, we walked away, and he went, oh, she complimented my hat. But yeah, so that's the only other celebrity I can think I've ever met, other than like local politicians, but I don't think they really count, do they? But anyway, I've been blithering on for so long, I've forgotten where we're actually up to in the build. Decorating. Okay, cool. This is where things actually really started to come together, and it really starts to look more like a home rather than a display home, which is always boring and bland and just looks unlived in. But as you can see here, going lots of oranges, going with a bit of teal here just to complement it as well. It's just, I'm really in love with the living room and the kitchen. Like, they came together a lot better than I'd expected them to. Also placing a lot of indoor plants. I think I could have gone a lot more. I could have gone full ham with the indoor plants, but I wanted to keep all this as, you know, EA content rather than custom content, which is where all my fun indoor plants are, because I am putting this up on the gallery, so you'll be able to download it for yourself. I'll put my tag up on the screen so you can find me, and you can play this out and see how you like it. And now we've moved outside, spending a little bit of time out here, making an outdoor sitting area and a meditation area. Oops, spoiler alert, making a meditation area. There are 3 major outdoor areas on this build. As you can see here, we've got the ground level where we've got the meditation area. Then on the second level, you would have seen, if you saw in the quick little flash of pictures at the beginning, there's a basketball and sitting area. And then on the top level, you've got the pool, and did I put a spa there? Yeah, I did put a spa there, and another sitting area. The whole idea here was I was just going full ham on the AstroTurf, because tying in that 1950s, 60s, 70s, you know, the Cold War, sorry to bring up the Cold War again, but that Cold War era of artificial greenery becoming popular with our idea of what the future was going to be. So I was really hanging on to that idea, I think. So I brought in the waterfall again for the meditation area, because that should be nice and relaxing, and I've got the big ball sort of water feature there, which for some reason I find hilarious. Probably should have something underneath, otherwise water just runs nowhere, but, you know, whatevs, it looks cool. And then just adding more greenery to the inside and the outside, adding some flowers. Then moving, am I in the front yard now? Yeah, now I'm doing the front garden. Lavender, I have a thing for lavender. I had to make sure I got rid of that because otherwise every build's just going to have lavender in it. So I went to the romantic stuff pack here, adding in some hollyhocks and then just picking a nice colour that complements. Ended up going blue and purple because the red and orange did not look too good. So going with a more cool colour scheme for the front. And then adding these funky little lights I found that I've never used before. Got pretty excited with them. I put them in a lot of places and I could have used them in a lot more, to be honest, but I was trying not to go overboard there. And starting with the bedroom, this bedroom, I didn't enjoy doing the bedroom because I couldn't find a colour scheme that matched very well. Either, it was a mix of too elegant with too modern, or, too abstract, and it just didn't, blend together very well. And the colours that are available, this is where another thing I miss with The Sims 3 is being able to sort of make your own colours and patterns. That would have been really handy here. I ended up going with pink, and then I went to bed and then got up the next day. This build took me a few days, not whole days. I didn't spend my entire day on it. It was like a couple of hours at a time. But yeah, that bedroom will change colour. And then on the top floor here where the pool is, there's a little office and a little bot building station. Just thought it'd be really cool. I like the idea of having this on the top floor because you've got like this wicked view of the neighbourhood as you're working away. I really like that idea because my study that I sit in has a pretty cool view, so that means a lot to me. Sticking with the orange and teal theme still for the office, that rug had me feeling all sorts of ways. I really like that rug. Like, perhaps the orange and the teal is a little too bright compared to the rest of the house, but I was not saying no to that rug. That is pretty cool. And then starting to decorate with all the little knickknacks. I have a lot of custom content scrolling through there. There is a lot of just stuff that's not going to go into a lot of builds, but I just had to have it anyway. And then moving up to the top, decorating this top sort of family area, I guess, or entertainment area, depending on how you feel. And whacking in the basketball court there while I was at it. I had a little kiddie paddle pool, but then realising there's only one bedroom, they probably don't have kids, so I just got rid of that. There was no point in having it there. And then just starting to make this all come together now. I added a little seating area in, I whacked some plants in just to make it look a little more lived in, to give it a little bit more life and a little bit of personality. And just using the eyedropper tool to pick up the different types of paving and wood planks that I use, just to make sure there is total cohesion between each of the levels. And then it's time for plants. Plants. I went through a lot of different types here, just trying to find an idea of how I wanted it to look. I love those three ball things. They are so cute, but I can imagine it'd be horrible to maintain. But if you can afford a house this big, you can probably afford a landscaper who would do it all for you. And then from here, just moving plants around. Nothing matters more in this house than plant placement. Ended up making that little corner up there into more of a sitting area, but it's not particularly inviting. It's more of an art installation than a sitting area, really. And then back down to the bathroom, which was a bit of a headache as well. Ended up shrinking the bathroom because it was a little too big. It just looked empty and, not very welcoming. And I ended up tucking a little gym behind. The bathroom's definitely a little darker than the rest of the house, but I still like it. I still think it works, and still managed to keep with the orange and teal theme with the rug there and that really cute painting. Really fond of that. Wouldn't mind that for my own house if my house had any orange in it at all. And here I am building the little gym. Just 2 pieces of equipment, some lights, nothing too flashy. There's not a whole heap of room in there, so it's more function over form, I guess. Decided this random little room, it served absolutely no purpose. I couldn't think of anything to put in there that would make you want to go in there, so I just turned that into another little garden area with more bloody lavender and then some flowers as well. And moving, where am I moving? Nope, still working on that little garden. Got to give it that little diagonal edge there, and then adding some garden trimmings. Decided to add a little garden bed here down on the first level sitting area. More lavender, haha, I'll never get over that. And then just flitting around a little bit, having a look, and coming back to this dreaded bedroom. Ended up going quite dark actually, with this whole black and gold. Added in some of that lovely black and gold embossed wallpaper, but ended up getting rid of that because I decided it was too much, and just ended up sticking with the black and gold theme, which I was quite happy with in the end. It tied in well with the bathroom. But that's it for this build, which is pretty good timing on ending this recording because my cat is starting to play up and she's making a lot of noise. So I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for sticking around. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the likey button. Also commenty and subscribey. I would very much appreciate it. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed the video and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you next time.